Hey, happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Mike. I think I just startled my poor puppy. Marley just got excited. All right. So we start out with OOC, outcomes, options, consequences. So the first thing that you do when again, this is our system for dealing with a big decision, is you look at what are the outcomes that you're most interested in? What are the things that you want to accomplish? What is it that you're trying to do? And you write them all down. And then, and by the way, this is an exercise that you should do on paper, where you actually write it out. Not something that you do in your phone, not something that you do on a computer. You should write it out on paper. There's something beneficial about writing it out on paper. So you write down all your outcomes, then you put them in order. What's most important to what's least important. So like for me, when I had my dilemma, I put down my outcomes. My outcomes were, number one, I wanted to present my dad with the plaque. That was really what was most important. I didn't care about emceeing the event. I didn't care about whether or not I really played in the event. I wanted to play in the event. That was an outcome, but that was pretty low. My real outcome was I wanted to present him with that plaque. The other outcome that was a priority for me was I wanted to go to the concert. I wanted to see the Foo Fighters. I wanted to go to that show and take my wife to that show. So, number one outcomes were plaque and go to the show. Other outcomes were I wanted to play because I wanted to get a chance to play with my brother and be at the tournament. And then the rest, in terms of emceeing the tournament, I didn't really care about there. Those were really the main outcomes, and those top two were very clear. Options. What options did I have? So now you got to start writing down, okay, and you do more than two. So my options, I could play in the tournament in the morning, not MC, not do my present the plaque to my dad in the evening, which is when you would think you would do it, and then still go to the show. I could not go to the show and do everything in the golf tournament. I could not go to the golf tournament and do everything in the show. Those were the three main options that I thought of. So you got to do at least three. But the big thing when you're doing your options, and again, write them down, is you don't evaluate at the time. You just write them down. Okay, don't think about whether or not they're good ideas or bad ideas. Don't judge them. Just get them out of your head and onto the paper and make sure that you have at least three. That's the main goal there when you're dealing with options. Now, consequences. Now you go through and you write down, okay, if I do these, what are the consequences to doing these? And you can actually go right next to the options and write the consequences. And you should do the consequences a plus 10 to a minus 10. Okay? So, option number one, where I play in the golf tournament and then I go to the concert. All right, well, going to the concert was a plus 10. Playing in the golf tournament for me, that was like a plus 5. Then I thought, all right, avoiding the golf tournament or avoiding the concert, playing in the golf tournament and still doing the plaque. The plaque was a plus 10, but everything else wasn't anywhere near a plus 10. And not going to the concert was a minus 10, and not doing the plaque was a minus 10. So what I figured out as I went through and looked at each thing is, number one, you look and get a chance to see your options on paper. And then you get to look and see what really is most important to you. Because when you rate them between a plus 10 and a minus 10, because like missing the golf tournament to me was like a minus 2. I mean, I didn't care about that much. Not emceeing the golf tournament was a 0. Didn't matter to me that much. Playing golf with my brother was important, but it wasn't a minus 10. It was, if I missed that, it was more of a minus 5. It was kind of a plus 5 to 8. What I learned as I went through and I did this process is the two most important things were presenting my dad with the plaque and going to the show. The rest of the stuff wasn't that important. And before I went through that exercise, I didn't have that clarity. It was kind of all a big soup. So going through this and looking at your outcomes, your options, and then your consequences, and doing it in those steps. And remember, you're rating them. When you go through and you look at your options, you're putting them in order. What is the order of those options for me? What's most important? What do I want to have happen most? And then with the consequences, you're rating them in terms of what impacts me the most. Now you're like, okay, now I have a hierarchy. So now I know in order of outcomes what's most important, and I know in order of consequences what's going to impact me the most. Big steps, because now you're going to look at this and go, okay, now I can start to narrow my focus in terms of what I want the most to have happen. That's the first half. We'll do the second half tomorrow. We'll do, and it's 3 more steps, and then you're going to see how to do this entire thing, and then we'll put it all together. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. I hope this was somewhat helpful. Like I said, it's good to see on paper. Maybe I'll try to draw something out and show you what I did. Because I think I still have the piece of paper in my office. So I will do that. I'll draw the piece of paper out and bring it so that I have that. Have a great day. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.